As Mika finally made it back to her quarters on board Exovol, she walked over to a chair that had been placed in the room next to a table, sitting down and beginning to swipe her way through the list of new crew members. This is going to take all day, she said as she began reading through the first of the new crew's work history. As from the floor around her, a gathering of silver liquid began to form into a small orb that floated up beside her. If you wish, I could analyze the data myself and choose the applicants based on experience, work history, and factors such as that. No, that wouldn't be fair to you. Plus, I'm the captain. I sort of have to do this kind of thing. It wouldn't be a very good captain move to have someone else choose their crew members. Besides, there are other characteristics that I'm looking for. It's not always about total experience. Sometimes certain people have that certain sort of something that makes them special, unique, and therefore inexpensive. Oftentimes, these people can be overlooked. You have to know how to look for them. But I do appreciate the offer, Exovol, Mika said, as she leaned back in the chair, holding the pad out, and began looking up at the ceiling. One way or another, I have a long day ahead of me. Yes, and according to you, a dangerous mission afterwards, Exovol replied, of which you haven't actually shared the details. Might I know what the mission entails? What are we doing? Exovol asked, the little orb vibrating gently, tiny little ripples flowing around it. Well, Exovol, we're going to be escorting a royal negotiator, an envoy, someone sent to curry favor with other worlds, and a very important person, back to their home world. It's highly likely to get, well, hairy. There's no telling whether the situation will go south at any point in time. Danger level, very high. I can't afford to tell any of the crew members as of yet. There's too great a chance that someone might spill information. And with a mission like that, that could be, well, suicidal. It's better if I wait until everyone's actually gathered and we've left to inform them about what the mission's specifics are. Once again, I find myself agreeing with your choice of action. Very well thought out, Mika, Exovol replied. More and more, I'm feeling quite comfortable with you as the captain. Or perhaps it's just the amount of your personality that I've absorbed that has me finding myself in agreement with you. But then again, the only reason I was able to copy your neural data and use it to replace my own was because of similarities in the first place. Meaning that you were much like me. Yeah, I suppose that is true, Mika replied, as a thought finally occurred to Mika. You know, after setting all of this up, I'm starting to feel, well, sort of bad, Mika said. Why would you feel bad? Exovol replied, his orb floating a bit closer to Mika. You're the captain. It's perfectly within your rights to decide the destination of your ship. Well, yeah, Exovol, with a normal ship, that seems to fit. But you're also, well, kind of a person, aren't you? I mean, you can think and feel, right? I mean, isn't it a little bit selfish of me to just tell you to waltz right into a dangerous situation? In that sort of light, it kind of makes me feel like I'm taking advantage of you. Don't be silly, Mika, Exovol replied. I am your ship. The purpose of a ship is to ferry those on board to their destination, to fulfill the will of those piloting that ship, of those in command of it. Whether that mission is dangerous or not is beyond the point. And as far as emotions go, I'm uncertain of whether I feel them or not, at least to the extent that a normal person might feel them. Surely enough, I understand what emotions are. However, I'm uncertain of whether I can feel them to the full extent that any normal person might. This is something that I might have to run calculations on, measure my own emotional response. Not doing so could prove hazardous. I wouldn't want to have an emotional breakdown during an important time or place. I should calculate this information. Perhaps create emotional presets and let you decide them. Absolutely not, exovol, Mika replied, looking frustratedly towards the floating orb. I am not going to be the decider of your emotional state. If you're able to feel emotions, then that means I have no right to take them away from you, or decide what they are. That's sort of how free will works. And I do want you to have free will. I mean, really, all of this stuff is only really possible because of you. A few weeks ago, I was working on board a derelict ship with a bunch of freaking pirates. And in the moment when I thought I was going to be executed, I was instead given a gift. A new friend. A strong one that's helping me. And has been exceptionally effective in doing so. And the only problem with it is, I'm not exactly sure how to return the favor. I mean, with a normal person, you just ask them what they want. But I'm not exactly sure what I could give you. Honestly, all the upgrades to your form only really benefit me. So even if I give you equipment, that's really just self-interest. I want to be able to give you something, because I think of you more as a big mechanical friend. A very big mechanical friend. That I sleep inside of, as weird as that sounds. So maybe you could help me out here a bit, exovol. Is there anything that you want? Maybe somewhere you want to go? Something you want to do? Well, exovol replied, to be honest, I don't have much data left from before my catastrophic destruction. What? Mika replied. What do you mean catastrophic destruction? As I said before, Mika, I was a warship before I became the so-called Kraken wandering through that field of debris. The reason I was in the state I was in was because, well, something was able to, well, destroy me. Or at least most of my physical aspects and data, even generating some sort of energy that affected my overall data storage within my nanite structure as well. Amongst the information lost, most of my memories were included. I do remember some things, but nothing that I can really make sense of. Just clicks and flashes of images, as well as a primary objective, a goal that was hardwired into my structure. The images are of a collection of people. There were countless of them, but a few that seemed to repeat far more frequently than others. However, after reawakening with you, and absorbing the data from the pirate ship as well as the new data that you've acquired since you've been here, which does include a wide range of races, I am still unable to identify the species or home world of the race of this people. So whoever they are, they're not in our databanks. They're from some other kind of race, one unfamiliar to you. Okay, but what about this primary objective? The one that's hardwired in? I mean, is that still in there? Yes, it was actually the most highly guarded of all information within my systems, and thus given the most protection. It sustained my destruction, and is still hardwired into my very being. Okay, so what's your objective? What was so important that it was hardwired into the essence of your being, to such a degree that even if you lost everything else, you'd still have to do that? Well, to be quite frank, I'm not sure what to make of the objective. The objective itself is very simple. However, I've lost all of the rudimentary information that allows me to interpret the objective, to understand what it is and what it means. The objective itself is destroy the Undur. In that very instant, Mika shot up from her seat, staring at Exovol's floating orb, almost a look of terror in her eyes. The Undur? You can't be serious, Mika replied, looking completely overwhelmed in the moment.